Boys, welcome back. We're going to be doing a full commentary over my two-chested 12 Dawn on Havoc Fel Scarred. I'm running a brand new build that I haven't tried yet, and it is focused on getting your Student of Suffering out before your main bursts. If you do your Sigil of Flame, it gives you a huge mastery boost. So I definitely screwed it up a couple times in this key, and we'll talk about it as well to see where I could have like optimized that. Like at the beginning here, I used it fairly okay, and I'm also trying out Blind Fury for the first time. I probably should have sent more inertias at the beginning of this, so that was probably some missed damage right there. We want to make sure that we're focusing on keeping up inertias, demon surges, and every single time you hear that bop, that is my weak aura that resets my blade dance for the 4 set. And when I watch this key back, maybe Havoc does not use it probably only uses Fel Barrage plus like I Beam Essence Break on that first pull, because you come into here, we will lust this, and my I Beam probably would have been perfect timing with this. We meta lust all of it right now, and then this pack's more dangerous than the other one. So I think it probably would have been smart if Havoc, if you have enough damage, maybe only I Beam Essence Break first pack and then meta the Lust pack, because you will probably get better timings. Like right here, I think on the platform, because of the way I did this, I probably missed maybe half a meta in this key, which probably translates out to I missed almost certainly doing that decision. I probably missed one I Beam Essence Break combo, and we really want to minimize those in keys. But that's another reason why Essence Break is really hard, because sometimes it's like, do you go for the extra value and then you wait 14 seconds on if you get 3 within the window, then you sometimes will have to wait. It's really about just trying to kill the pulls that are going to kill your team, and I think that Havoc is actually very good at that. And right here, every time, like I said earlier, you're gonna hear that gunshot. That is my blade dance being reset by my Chaos Strike. That is our 4 set, and had I switched my metas up and everything, I think this pull would have lined up really well, and I think it would have been a little bit better. Make sure that on Havoc, you have so many defensives now with, like, you can treat your Blade Dance as a defensive. That is the one way that you can look at it. You can use the not even close and actually use that as a calculator to see. I would use my deflecting dance to be able to live this entire mechanic. So that is a very important thing to know. Not Even Close is a website where it shows you all of the different abilities in every dungeon. It's kind of crazy what they have, but right here we're putting down Student of Suffering first. I'm going to try to get my inertias out. I probably should have used that up there a little bit earlier, so I was probably one global behind here. Yeah, I think missing out on that is pretty big. We want to make sure that we use our Sigil of Flame closer to when everything's going to proc. So we use our Sigil of Flame when we will go into a Essence Break, a meta combo, when a ton of Rage Fires are about to proc, or when we have Fel Barrage. So there's a lot of scenarios in which we'll be using it, but it's going to be just a little bit difficult at this time. This is my first time running Blind Fury with the Sigil and Fel Barrage at the same time. I really like it, and that's why I kind of wanted to show off this key. There's a lot of optimization. I think Havoc is almost unkillable. Havoc feels really, really good right now, just because every single time we reset our Blade Dance, we get a shield for 15% of our health while we're in Blade Dance, which is just like, it really helps live just those little extra moments, and then you can save it. If you're on top of your game, you can save your deflecting dance for like 2 seconds. Like, I'm not saying hold it for like 6 seconds, because it has like a 5 second cooldown depending on how much haste you have, depending on what's going on. This, I'm convinced that this boat just screws up. That happened to me twice. It happens to me never. So there's no way it happens to me twice in one thing on just one platform and never again in the key. So right here, the only downside of Fel Barrage is that it's not the best single target DPS, but it's also not bad. Actually, it's pretty bad. If you like consider like one of the other towns you could take, it's not as much value in a key setting. That's why we don't take something else. But if you strictly, let's say you had time to run out of a key and it's a last boss and it's only a single target fight, then there's definitely a world where if it's going to take you longer to like port out and just go get 10% single target DPS and go like Shattered Destiny and just only Chaos Strike a boss and get rid of your full AoE spec, that'd be... There's scenarios and I've done it. That's kind of fun, but for the most part, and right here, I got so screwed up. I accidentally hit my mouse's, what is it? I make my cursor go faster, and you can see my screen twitching because my mouse is going like double the DPI right now. So I'm like, oh my god, what is happening? I'm playing on like the fastest DPI my thing can go. So I'm like, holy crap, it's throwing my my camera around. And right here, I could probably have done a little bit more damage, but I didn't really want to risk getting pulled into her hitbox fully. And sometimes you run that risk on Havoc. If that happens, you're probably gonna die. You would have to nether walk, darkness, and do all of these extra things just to be able to live that. We want to just make sure that we're focusing on right here. I probably sigiled. I saw Essence Break was up, but my I-beam was trailing behind just a second, so I ended up missing out on that sigil damage. So that's something you really have to look out for, and it is a big deal. It's like 21% mastery or something like that. I'll probably flash it somewhere on the screen there if I remember it, but it is pretty much one of our main capstones, and it's very good. The other one on the same capstone's like an Immolation Aura buff, 20% crit, I believe. I don't remember off the top of my head, but it's pretty good. This one is more specific, but I would say has a higher top end because you can guarantee the damage when you're buffing yourself, and that I think that's always has very high value. And right here, I didn't let my I-beam fully channel, and that's because of those things on the ground. It's definitely worth me living than getting a Furious Gaze buff, but that's one reason why it's kind of hard playing this exact spec with Blind Fury and Mythic Plus, because if stuff goes under you and you weren't prepared for it, like right there, I have no excuse. I knew that these things dropped those little circles, and I just hoped that they weren't going to cast it on me. And as soon as I cast my I-beam, they cast it, and that's how the game goes. But it's not that big of a deal, and you just want to make sure that you're staying on top of it. Right here, I see that I'm just losing a lot of health. I want to make sure that I keep an eye on it, but I don't want to waste everything. As soon as I see that I was going to go pretty low, I nether walk just in case. There's the next mob up here. I missed out on damage, but I made it so the healer didn't have to waste any defensives. I didn't have to waste a defensive. I meta immuned this very first, like she's gonna cast, and then I meta immune this, and it's right here, meta immune. So I ended up missing out on a death sweep there because of the meta immune, and that is what it is. But we get feared right off the bat. We really screwed that pull up. But we did a decent amount of damage for doing it wrong, and that's why we watched them back. So I haven't played too much Havoc this season, and I am really enjoying it again. So I think I'm gonna start pushing. I'll get to 630 soon. I think after a couple more keys, I'll get to 630, and after tomorrow, I'll get one more vault, I'll push and see how Havoc is actually doing, because I've just been testing builds. I've played so many different builds. I think I really like this one, and once I get a little bit better at it, I think it's gonna be great. I think this one's slightly harder just because if you use your Sigil of Flame in the wrong spot, it will, like, you will lose value. But you have to use Sigil of Flame. You want to use it for Fury regen sometimes, but you never actually need Fury regen. So if you're getting stuck with that, then that's kind of a problem in itself. But overall, it's not that bad. Right here, we had a little bit of a weird route, and this kind of showcases why Havoc is pretty good. Like, almost on any pull, as long as you get a good setup going, you're gonna do a lot of damage. Like right here, I'm doing like 4 mil damage, 5 targets with no meta or anything. I mean, it's really good. I think that's really, really good. And I didn't have, I mean, I'm not in a trinket, anything like that. There's nothing particular going on. It's just Havoc kind of does a good amount of damage. I have to move my buffs around a little bit. I see the Sigil of Flames are in a weird spot as well, so I'm going to be optimizing the UI, getting my weak auras set up, and then I will make a quick guide on my own weak aura setup with my own UI if people are interested. I do see a lot of comments about that, so when I get mine like finalized, then I will kind of like try to walk you guys through it here. This is a really annoying boss right here.
Frontal.
Just for the frontals, if the tank just moves to the side. We're gonna have to pause this for a second. That's very loud. We're back. So the music was just very loud on my screen here, so I didn't want that to take everything up. But we'll start looking at this again. We have this guy, the tank, only wants to move the bare minimum for these frontals, because if the frontal is always going to go directly where the tank is. If he's facing it towards the group, then every single person, including the tank, because the tank can't get hit by the frontals, the tank has to move no matter what. So instead of making 5 people move, just the tank moves, and he just moves slightly, and he's always facing it away, and make it easier for your tank by having your team stack here. One little thing in Dawnbreaker that you guys can note is that if you're in combat, you can just mount up. So people don't know that, and I think it's pretty important. There's definitely scenarios where you might think that you're in combat, and then you won't even hit your mount because you don't know, and you are not in combat. Well, you are in combat, it just doesn't matter for that specific thing here. Right here, I think I ended up body pulling one mob, which was unfortunate, but what did I do? I forgot. Well, we'll see. I think I overshot a Fel Rush or something like that, and then the tank was on top of it, so all was good, but this was definitely a big mistake by me. You got to be very careful when playing. We were going this way anyway, so it's not like we lost value. Too much value. If anything, we might have gotten funnel coming into this, but it was still a mistake nonetheless, and that is pretty much what's important here. And I ended up using a different rotation there because I thought there was a possibility that I would die, and using my shield right there, I jumped forward and ended up pulling that on the left because this was coming out there, frontal's going out there, and that was just a scary one. But if anything, maybe we got more funnel. Who knows? It could have all worked out for us because these mobs didn't really do anything. And I guess essentially I get more Rage Fire stacks, which is more single target. The Warlock gets more Soul Shards, and the other guy gets more Quake. So everyone makes a little bit of a mistake here and there. We're going to go absolutely ham on the next pull. So we have our meta up for the boss. And I think one really overlooked thing on this next boss is the ads. People need to stack after the boss procs his thing. You have to, because he is going to put ads out, and they all individually cast and they do so much damage. it feels insane almost how much damage they do. What we have to make sure that we stun early. We want to save our Sigil of Fear for the very end, because people will probably spam their AoE stuns, but if you have Sigil of Fear, it will not get like caught on anything else. It won't get DR'd, and that is what we're looking for here. We do not want to DR our stuff. And I try to get my demonic presence thing, the talent, in with my Fel Barrage there, but it was slightly off, and that's one thing that I'll be optimizing here. Is I will be practicing making sure that my Student of Flame, like right here, I should be Sigil of Flaming before this. This is what we need to Sigil of Flame, pretty much nothing else. If we're not Sigil of Flaming before that burst window right there, then we're doing it wrong. So that was an incorrect DPS, and if we're going to be playing this build, the one that I showed at the beginning of the screen, we need to be focusing on Sigil of Flame before the big damage windows. We Sigil of Flame before going into the pack, so we could reset when we go into our meta. Then we'll get double, and we want to just the entire time that we're in our trinkets or something like that, we want to make sure that we are in that. This is a pretty self-explanatory fight. You just kind of let the orb go down. If it hits one of the walls that's super close to you, you're going to do a lot of damage to the team. And if the further it goes, it's like kind of doesn't do enough damage to really kill you. Most classes will have a CD every other for these right here, the Shadowy Decays. Make sure that you're watching that. And right here, I know I'm going into the ads, so I drop my Sigil and I put myself into inertias, and we just go absolutely one-shot these, and everything is now dead. So we got now our Sigil of Flame down again. We're gonna try to stay in our inertias as long as we possibly can, and it's all about just absolutely pumping from here. Try to use your Death Sweep cooldowns as best as you can. So I have my next Death Sweep setup going on, so I got my next inertias, and we kind of just rinse and repeat from here. At the very end there, I had a IMO up, but what I was trying to do is I saw 4 seconds left on meta, and my idea for that was just hold as long as you can, and hopefully you'll get a Blade Dance reset in here, and then you can just use your IMO on the ads. So we were fishing for a Blade Dance proc, and we did not get it there, so we just kind of switched it up and nuked the ads when they came out anyway. Drop. This is always a good, when your healer doesn't have CDs or you see that they've used quite a lot. We don't have too much stuff. You can see some of the buffs that I'm tracking below. They didn't have too many cooldowns. Drop Darkness, use Blur on myself, and I really just don't even take too much damage. It's very nice. I'm getting my IMOs out, get my inertia up, and get my I-beam out on these. Oh, that is some big damage. I had to run away at the worst time, trying to keep my Fury up while running, and I still got my Essence Break window. That's all that matters. We need to always make sure if you Essence Break, you got to get the Death Sweep, and with your Chaos Strikes, you can pretty much, you have a 25% chance to get another Death Sweep in your Essence Break. So it is very powerful to use Chaos Strike in there, and there's only sometimes when you have like 5 Rage Fires or pretty much 5 Rage Fires going on, that is a time where you're definitely going to want to focus on keeping yourself in inertia. That was a little clip glitch there, but we're back, and so this is going to be pretty much the final pulls here. This is a very weird mob just because he just keeps spawning, and I believe I will have to fully read it, but watching this and doing it a couple times on lower keys, the faster you kill him, he starts summoning ads at like a certain percentage. It might be 25, 50, and then 75. So it's very possible. It feels like that's what's happening here. So I do think that if you get overwhelmed by ads, it would be because you killed him so fast, and then you might not even have damage for the ads when they come out. But what we're looking for right here, yeah, so as soon as he hits 25 again, he goes back into this cast. I think it has to be very interesting. This is why we watch things back. This is why we do commentaries, so we can learn. These are for you guys to learn and for me to learn as well. These are very helpful for me. I needed to watch back and see how I'm doing with the talent. Like, this is first key with it. I think I'm doing okay. I'm missing windows, of course, but I'm trying to really focus on not dying. I'm not low item level, but it's also not the best in the game right now, so we gotta definitely keep focused, make sure we're not taking infinite damage, or it can be very, very sketchy. I think having, like, right here, I didn't even see past that. I saw his, whatever the hell it's called, the Hellstone thing, and I was gonna go grab it, but that is not one of the bombs. And then I realized he picked up the bomb, and then there was one in melee anyway, so I always try to get the furthest one. If you're in your group, always try to get the furthest one that you can. It helps other people. Mental globals, you gotta save other people from themselves. That's how it works. Make sure, especially going forward, what you want to do right here is you want to go into your interface, go to your special action button. That's how you can keybind that exact, like if you want to throw the bomb, quests, raid bosses, it's special action button in your keybinds is what you need to do. That is very, very helpful. For this, you can turn off your dragon riding. It's kind of a pain in the ass in here. I don't like dragon riding, but some people do. I forgot to turn it off. The only reason it's on is because I forgot to turn it off. That's literally it. I will, for the most part, not be running Dawnbreaker with it. And that is... It's... You don't really need it. And right here, I needed to double jump that knockback because I think I pretty much lost like one button, really. And right here, hopefully we sigil next. Perfect. And now we go into all buttons with hero. I think I should be doing some pretty good damage. We gotta run away because we have the circle, but always remember that I think one of the big takeaways here is how much I try to... It's not like I try, but there are times where I save my Blade Dance so that we're going to be able to use... We're going to get the 15 health shield in the certain window. Like right here, just constantly during these ticks, getting 15% health shield is just very valuable. I blur 15% health shield. I live through most things in the game, and then I have a complete immunity. So if there's nothing other than like a raid boss's execute whole team now because it's mad. And sometimes it even lives those. The actual like value of getting a Blade Dance and then having a full immunity from Nether Walk is very, very good. I think we have a relatively good profile to live in these dungeons now. And I think before it was kind of rough. Like, I just slammed my nether walk right there. I dropped my puddles in the exact same spot, so then we could just get rid of them, and now we have a much cleaner room. It's overall having Havoc and just being able to, like, this is good utility. Putting this down, this is a good use for this. I get a lot of value out of this healing. Everyone's in darkness, I think, except for maybe one person wasn't, but there's a lot of value to be had here. And coming up, this is like obviously a simple thing to talk about here, but I know that the boss is going to die at 60%, and I can't wait for my I-beam. So as soon as I see that, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to meta now, because this boss is going to die before that I-beam would have came up. I put my sigil out, and that is pretty much the end of this fight. But if you guys liked, subscribe, give it a like, and I will do more like this. I'm going to be coming up with some Havoc things for which Havoc talents to run in every dungeon. That's going to be coming up next. And we're also going to be doing a little bit of working out on stream as well. So subscribe, like if you enjoyed. Thanks, guys.